Welcome to Curious Caravan. I'm Jason, and with me is my co host Lizette. We're here to take you on a journey to America's most curious, quirky, and downright unforgettable spots.
Yep. So if you're into hidden gems, oddball attractions, and a little nostalgia, you're in the right place.
Let's dive right in to Curious Caravan. Welcome to another episode of Curious Caravan. I'm Jason,
And I'm Lizette.
and today we have a very special guest, our friend, our colleague, Emilie DeLong, joining us. Welcome, Emily.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
And today, in honor of it being in April and spring is starting to sprung, we're serving up spring break activities three ways. We've got me in the Southeast with Florida, we've got Lizette in Dallas, and we've got Emily all the way in the far reaches of the Northeast in Maine. So,
Yeah, and it's springing so hard right now, you guys, because it's snowing. That is spring, if I've ever heard of it. Spring in
well,
Maine.
it's all about the dynamic weather these days for sure. And the definition of spring changes. So, Emily, let's start off with you as you bring in your perspective of what we can do in Maine in the spring. Apparently, we can ski.
Would love. Okay, so hear me out, guys. I actually think Maine is seriously an underrated springtime destination for a few different reasons. Yes, the weather can be a little unpredictable. She can be sunny and warm one week, like it was last week. There's no snow on the ground. And then all of a sudden this morning, we're getting a few hours of like very fluffy snow falling right now. I'm
Keeps
optimistic.
things exciting.
I don't think it's going to accumulate, but it's like you don't quite know what the weather is going to do in April or March for that matter. It can be unpredictable, but we here who have weathered winter 3 or 4 months, depending upon what Mother Nature decides to throw at us for winter, eagerly look forward to spring even with those challenges. So, and we hope that you guys will embrace it too. So, what can you do in Maine? Here's the thing. April and even into May are kind of shoulder seasons for Maine, right? Like this is not typical heavy tourism time of year for us. Usually that's more the late spring, like around Memorial Day through the summertime, a little bit of a brief pause around Labor Day when school starts back, but then picks up again when the peak of the leaves happen. And that's really when like the mountains and
Mm.
everybody gets super busy. But those shoulder seasons of, fall and spring, there are no tourists here. So if you want to get into a really great restaurant downtown that's hard to get into other times of year, you can almost walk in most nights of the week or secure a reservation for places that are really hard to get to. It's also still giving cozy vibes, you guys, in the spring. I mean, it's not hot. We still have, nights are getting down to the 30s and 40s. Also, most Mainers on spring break leave the state because of the weather that we've been having, and they're seeking warmer climates. So again, it's a great time because you're not going to be waiting for a table anywhere. There's still plenty of things to do around town. But yeah, if you're from the South and you're just like, I just want some cozy vibes, I want to wear some sweaters, I want to curl up by the fire, like we got it. We got you covered. Okay. So,
Good
a
off
little alternative
season.
spring break. It's a little off season up here. So, like, perfect example. I had a friend in town last weekend and there's this really hot breakfast spot that like has a line out the door every single, weekend morning for brunch. We just waltz ourselves right in there at 10 o'clock. No reservation Ooh. needed. Sat right down. I mean, that's the kind of situation. So if you're a foodie, like this is the time of year to come up here. Yes, there is still snow. So if you are the kind that's looking for, some spring skiing adventures, the two biggest mountains here called Sunday River and Sugarloaf both still have snowmaking going on if, we're a little light on the actual fluffy white stuff, but they also have some fun spring activities. Famously, Sugarloaf has their reggae fest every year around this time. So
Wow.
reggae on the
Ooh,
slopes. I mean, why not?
that's fun.
Nice
Yeah, so
contrast.
nice little contrast. And again, because this isn't like peak season, yeah, there's going to be people there, but it's not going to be as crazy as like full on winter. One sort of interesting option, and I haven't personally done this one, but I did glamp at this particular location over the summer and it was a 10 out of 10, but there is a desert in Maine, my friends, the desert of Maine.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
what does this consist of? Like being in the South,
A
I'm
lot of
curious.
sand, I mean, literally, like you would
maybe a
think.
little bit.
It
Yeah.
is located near Freeport, and Freeport, for those who are not in the know, is home of LLB.
Mm.
So a
Yeah.
little bit further up the coast from Portland. So there's a desert, and it used to be like kind of a cool, quirky, roadside attraction or whatever. But most recently, it has been converted into a glamping destination. And so you can glamp adjacent to the desert. And yes, they are open all year round. So again, serving up cozy vibes. These are, and I mean, they're incredible. There are domed accommodations that offer heat and AC in the summer weather, really nice bathrooms, even and things like that.
Very
For those
important.
who
Very
want to
See,
important.
be,
see, that's my
for
type of camping, like,
exactly,
glamorous camping. I don't
exactly,
do the whole let's be in a tent and sleep
Same.
on a roof thing.
exactly. And it's nature adjacent is what I like to call it. Last year, when my parents, who are, approaching 80, said, "Oh, we want to take the grandkids camping and all that," I was like, "Sure you do. Let me fix this pipe dream for you, my friends. No, you guys want to glamp." And so for
Mm-mm.
multi-gen travel, it's a great one because everybody has their creature comforts. If you do want to rough it a little bit more, they do have like glamping tents and things like that. But even still, like it still comes with a bed. It still has really nice decor. They have cute
Mm.
little cabins that have like little fireplaces, and all of them have their own little glamping, like a fire pit situation as well. So like that's
Ooh.
kind of fun. And the fact that it's kind of next to this quirky roadside attraction, the desert of Maine, just makes it even more kind of unusual and fun. The leaves starting to come out on the trees and the flowers starting to bloom. So there's all these little like fun nature things that we as locals love to start to see because it means spring's right around the corner. So with that, we love
Sure.
to go out and hike. A lot of the trails
Yes.
are finally defrosted after winter and are reopened again. And there's so many. I mean, there's too many to name. I mean, anywhere in the state, you're going to find a trail. So here around Portland, some of my personal favorites. There's a really great birding trail down in Biddeford Pool where a lot of migratory species can be seen, and it offers spectacular views back towards Old Orchard Beach, which is the town that I live in. There's also a really great one on the Eastern Promenade in Portland, which wraps its way around historic, well, what used to be the homes of many sea captains back at the turn of the century, lots of Victorian mansions,
Oh.
breathtaking views of the bay, and you can walk that whole path back towards the famous Old Port. Grab yourself a drink, another bite to eat, whatever. But yeah, as the weather starts getting nicer, like all of the Mainers start emerging from hibernation. So we encourage you guys to enjoy it too. Get a little bundled up if you're coming up from the south, of course. Yeah, and I mean, I also think Maine is a great sort of landing pad for road trips, right? We're about
Mm.
an hour and a half from Boston, from where I'm at down near Portland. So there's lots of great road trip opportunities, whether you're going north towards Canada, like Quebec City is a 6 hour drive from where I live, or if you're, headed to go explore more of New England. All these states are tiny, so it's really easy to get from one to another, unlike our friends down in Texas or Florida here,
Yep.
where having lived in Florida permanently, it takes almost a whole entire day to get out of the
Yep.
state, depending upon where
Pretty
you are.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in a day, I could be in New York City.
Wow.
There's lots of road trip potential too. So if you want to kind of, cruise around, and again, this is not a big time of year for travelers in the Northeast in general. Quebec is another, I would say that is another one that is easy to travel to this time of year, as long as you're okay with, a little bit of unpredictable weather. And beaches are empty this time of year too. So if you just want to
Mm.
walk a beach and have absolutely no people on it, now's the
Main
time.
character moments.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, big time.
A
And
hundred percent.
usually a lot of like, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but the coast of Maine actually has more coastline than this whole entire state of California.
Oh,
Because of the way
no.
that our coastline kind of weaves in and out, it's not a straight line. We have, I mean, I don't even know how many miles of coastline in total, but where I live down in Old Orchard Beach, a substantial amount of it is beach.
Wow.
And it's empty. Like I go out in the morning to walk the beach and there's nobody there. And during this time of year too, most of the beaches, since it's off season, will allow dogs on the beach too. So if you've got a furry friend in tow with you, it's a great time of year to bring your furry friend on a little road trip and go, splash in the water.
Wait, I do have a question about hiking in spring in
Yeah.
May. How does one prepare? So I'm bundled up. Do I need new shoes? Like, what do I need to do to make that happen? Because
Okay.
personally, that sounds kind of fun.
So you're going to, first stop, you're going to go to LL Bean and pick yourself up
Mm,
some of those classic bean boots because
yes.
not only are they excellent for keeping your feet nice and dry and they're waterproof, but they're
Hmm.
also they're designed for trekking around the main route. And so, yeah, I mean, are you going to encounter some mud? Probably. Are you
Given.
going to have like some chillier weather? Yeah.
Yeah.
But Yeah, and, a small price to pay to see the forest kind of emerge from winter. Hear lots of bird song. I mean, the woods are just filled with birds right now. They're
Uh,
returning from spending winter away. And again, it's quiet. It's, not peak season. Not that there's ever really like massive crowds on most trails unless you're up in
mhm.
Acadia or something. But yeah, it's just like a nice sort of peaceful way to explore Maine via its trails.
Yeah.
There's so many to choose from.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, because Maine has always been on my list, especially when it comes to hiking and just like being able to explore the state. I never considered the coast though until this moment. I know it's now a
I'm
big coast.
surprised.
I know. I'm a hiker more than a beach person. So yeah, I am shocked at how large the beach is and the coast is for Maine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nature beaches. They're not loaded with
Okay.
high rises. Like I live in the town that's considered like the most touristy beach town in Maine,
Hmm.
but honestly, like it's like nothing is above like a 2 or 3 story building in most of Old Orchard
Oh.
Beach. Like, and they're all like little, kind of retro mom and pop motel kind of vibes. Old Orchard Beach itself is a turn of the century, like 1920s era classic pier, beach kind of thing with
Mm,
amusement rides and things like that.
yeah.
So it's got kind of like a quirky charm to it, but it definitely doesn't look anything like, the beaches in Florida or anything like that. Like they're pretty low key, and a lot of them are nature beaches. Like there's nothing, they're parts of state parks or whatever.
Mm.
So it's very much, yeah, much more low key, I would say.
I'm putting this on my list of next
Well, it
places to
definitely
go.
seems like if for Maine, if you're looking for more of a, get in there and enjoy what most people do during the busy season, but without having to worry about the wait and the lines and everything
Mm,
like that, this is the time to go. Nice little
Mhm.
off the beaten path spring break destination. Whereas while everyone's flocking south, flock northeast.
Yep,
it's
very true.
true.
Great. Well, the only like exposure I have to Maine is I would have to say is Murder She Wrote and Angela
Hmm.
Lansbury. So, it's nice to hear the other side of, no need to be solving crimes, go on a hike or enjoy the beach or go glamping.
Hmm.
Well, that sounds fun. Now, let's move a little bit from the Northeast. We're now going to move
Hmm.
into the Dallas region. So, Lizette, tell us, if we're going to
Uh,
be in the good old state of Texas for
yeah.
April, what is there to do?
Dallas never sees a shortage of travelers. It's always a constant revolving door of activities to do. It's not a spring break destination, I will say that, but it is filled with activities. So, one of the main things that a lot of people love to do is see the Bluebonnet Festival in Ennis, which isn't Dallas, but it's Dallas adjacent, about 30 or so minutes from city center. And this festival is where you kind of just get to drive through the bluebonnets. Don't know if either of you are aware, but bluebonnets are the state of Texas's flower. So that's why it's such a big
Oh,
deal.
news to me.
So that's why it's such a big deal. And so obviously you can't pick them, but it's still beautiful to drive through. They've got music, they've got vendors. That's kind of the theme of Dallas: music, vendors, food. And then there's also the Perot Museum, which, if you're back in Dallas from the Bluebonnet Festival, on Thursday nights, they are reopening their Thursdays on Tap, which you get to explore the Science Museum. It's got all of its exhibits open, and just being able to walk through that, it's really fun.
And what type of exhibits does the Pro Museum have? What is its
It's
main
a
focus?
science museum.
Science Museum.
So they'll have like kind of an earthquake exhibit, they'll have a space exhibit, a human
Oh,
body.
nice.
Yeah, you see like the blood vessels of a human body, which I'm sorry that sounded really graphic,
Yeah, but there's
but
plenty of people who are interested
yeah.
in that. So,
Exactly. So it's a really cool
Around.
thing. And there aren't really kids at this hour because obviously drinks are being served and it's after hours. So it's adult fun, and being able to explore that a little bit more, since usually it is a big spot for like kids to discover the sciences. And the
sure.
Dinosaur Museum is always a big hit with them. So the Pearl on Tap is on the radar this April. And then the last thing actually that I really want to go to that I haven't been to is the Indie Book Crawl.
Oh,
And so it's Independent Book Month for, kind of, I don't know if it's the nation, but for sure in Dallas. And so a lot of the indie bookstores will have their own kind of like openings or like vendors coming in, but there is a book crawl in Bishop Arts District, which is a part of Dallas that has a lot of like restaurants, a lot of shops to go to, and it's kind of this antique, almost like traditional old school Dallas. And so that's kind of the beauty of Bishop Arts. And they'll be hosting their own indie book crawl in April 25th, I believe. So I am going to be there buying up a bunch of books that I do not need and will be on my TBR, but I will get to them eventually. It's gonna
like
go.
if you like flowers, you like science, and you like books, Dallas is the place to be for the spring.
How is spring break and spring in Sarasota, though?
Okay, well, I mean, I ultimately have, if you're going to do the typical, textbook definition of spring, it's
Hmm.
Sarasota, Florida. I mean, we've got Siesta Key Beach, we've got Lido Key, we've got Longboat Key. It's pretty much the beach destination, I would say, as cliche as that sounds for spring break. But, March, April, and then getting into May, it's extremely, extremely busy here. But, Siesta Key has continued to evolve. And it's, I mean, for those of you who may not be, yes, we've got the beaches, but the rest of it, it really isn't. But what is nice down there is you can pretty much, there's everything from in Siesta Key Village, there's the restaurants, there's the bars, the daiquiri deck. It's a great place to get, you want a cocktail and then walk over to the beach. It's like perfect. I mean, Siesta Key's known for its, baby powder white sand. So, the sand there is very, very unique. And that's what most people like to go. Highly recommend if you're going to get there early because once you hit around 11 o'clock noon, it's kind of like you're looking at the Disney World queues in terms of getting parking down there. A lot of people like to go in the mornings, but also the later evenings are really nice too because we do have some of the best sunsets around, especially at the beach. St. Armand's Circle is a very, very popular destination. It's basically literally it's a circle of shops. But what's nice about that area is, it's got some very popular restaurants. It has the Columbia, which is, their 1905 salad, their Cuban food. It's really, really popular. But it also has a lot of independently owned shops with, where you can get soaps and jewelry and knickknacks and like beach themed. It's a really cool spot. It's really nice if you're just going to walk around. And that's great in the evenings. During the day, it can get really, really busy, especially during the spring. But I highly recommend checking out both of those places. Weather here for the spring, it's normally really, really nice, though I will say this year has been kind of off. We've had really rainy days, we've had really cold days, we've had our super warm days. It does seem like we have switched from winter straight into summer with how warm it's been here lately. But I mean, it's perfect weather if you're trying to escape the cold. And I think anyone coming from, Maine or like anywhere from a cold, I mean, what we consider cool here, they think is a great summer vibe. Temperature wise, we are probably very, very attractive in that way. But also we've got a lot of arts and culture here too that is great to do. Like if you even if you're coming for just like the typical spring break experience, we have the Ringling Museum and that's from, John Ringling, who did the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. That art museum is absolutely gorgeous. It's wonderful to walk through. There's also the Circus Museum there where you can see all of the vintage, circus performers' equipment and displays and artifacts from that era, which are really, really great. You can walk through the Ringling Mansion, which is absolutely worth the additional 30-minute tour because you can see their actual home and it's still like, very well preserved. And so that's definitely an experience I highly recommend. You know, summer is where it gets a lot busier here, but what's interesting is it's more of locals versus tourists coming. I mean, summer is still very popular, but the spring is when everyone tends to flock here. Our area continues to like expand and grow and get busier and busier and busier. And also the activities are much more dynamic from, seeing theater, from community theater to professional theater to the art museums to the beach. So, it definitely is a great destination for people who are looking maybe don't want to go to Miami Beach or don't want to go down to the Keys. It really is building up here to still be, a really exciting area. So, I mean, we don't have the clubs that Miami has. So if you're coming for the clubbing, I don't recommend Sarasota. We're a little bit much of an older demographic, but we have plenty of adjacent areas from Ybor, around that if you wanted to go and do that, you can. But if you're looking just to lay out and relax at the beach or like get in some great dining or look around, and do some shopping, it's a great, great spot.
We actually used to spring break in Lombok Key, and that's how I became acquainted with the area. And eventually, after college, I was like, "Peace to the Northeast, I'm out," and I moved down south for almost 20 years. I lived down in the Sarasota area, and that love of the tropical Florida weather really was born in Sarasota. Lombok Key, even back in the day, was still exactly what you described. You can go to all these, they're not all inclusive resorts, but they have kind of all you need.
Yeah.
And that was ideal, in April when, again, I'm looking at the snow falling outside my window right now. And suddenly that's sounding really great. But no, we used to go down there and spend the week just hanging out, by the pool, on the beach, whatever. And it was, that's totally where my love of Florida began, was on those trips.
And there's also a lot here where you can, if you want to stay right on the beach, there's a lot of not even just hotels, but, condos and Airbnbs that are right there where you don't have to leave because you can kind of set up like your own, apartment situation and walk literally right out onto the beach, especially in the Lido area, which is really, really nice. But it is interesting how spring can bring so many different dynamic experiences to the table, depending on the region you're in.
Yeah.
To our wonderful listeners, whether you want to do an off season, get in everywhere that you could possibly get like a local in Maine, you want to read your way through Dallas, or you want to come and check out the beach in Sarasota, you've got your options this month. And well, I think that's going to wrap up our discussion today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emily, for
Thank you,
joining
Emily.
us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. And as always, guys, stay curious.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we did.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review Curious Caravan on your favorite podcast platform. It helps more curious minds like you find us.
And if you're hungry for more, follow us on social for extra content and behind-the-scenes sneak peeks.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep being curious, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Curious Caravan.